Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a really close look at an incredible piece of ancient poetry, Psalm 104.
It's quite something, isn't it?
It really is. And our goal here is to sort of unpack it, explore this amazing picture it paints of creation and, the connections it draws between God, nature, and, well, us.
It's such a rich text for that. It
Yeah.
doesn't just say God created. It gives you this almost cinematic view of how the psalmist saw creation happening and continuing.
Yeah.
Very active.
Totally active. And it kicks off right away. It doesn't mince words. Verses 1 to 4, you get this huge statement. Praise the Lord, O my soul. O Lord, my God, you are very great. You are clothed with splendor and majesty. How do we start thinking about that?
Well, that's not just saying God exists. It's an explosion of description about God's nature. It has splendor and majesty. It's like an inherent radiance, a kind of royal power. It sets the stage immediately for something transcendent, way beyond the everyday.
And the imagery that follows is, well, it's pretty wild. Wrapping himself in light like a robe, stretching out the heavens like a tent.
Yeah, it's incredibly vivid.
And setting beams on water, clouds as a chariot, riding the wind, even making winds messengers and fire his servants. What's going on with all that?
What's really striking there is how it takes these massive, sometimes scary elemental forces, light, wind, clouds, fire, and frames them not as chaotic or independent, but as tools almost, instruments completely under divine will.
So, like, totally controlled.
Exactly. They're depicted as actively doing the creator's bidding. It's this vision where even the most powerful bits of nature are part of a deliberate plan, under command.
Okay, so from that huge cosmic picture, the psalm kind of zooms in, right? Verses 5 to 9 bring us down to earth. It talks about setting the earth on its foundations. It can never be moved. That sounds really solid.
Oh, absolutely. And that reflects an ancient way of seeing the cosmos. The earth wasn't just floating randomly. It's perceived as stable, grounded, founded. The emphasis is all on that stability, making the world feel permanent, secure for the people living on it.
Established.
Precisely. It's about order having a definite place.
Then it mentions the earth first being covered by the deep, waters even standing above the mountains. But then there's this powerful divine act, God's rebuke, the thunder, and the waters just flee.
Yeah, and this taps into a really common theme you find in lots of ancient creation stories. Water often represented chaos, the untamed stuff that needed to be pushed back, contained, to make room for life.
So God speaking brings order.
That's exactly the picture here. Divine power speaks, and the chaos, the water, has to retreat and settle where it's told.
And it's very specific about the outcome. You set a boundary they cannot cross. Never again will they cover the earth.
That boundary is key. It's not just about drawing lines on a map. It's about establishing the fundamental conditions for life to actually flourish on dry land. It's order winning out over that potential chaos.
So building on that established order, the focus shifts again in verses 10-23. And here gets into the nitty-gritty of sustaining life, starting with water again, springs pouring into ravines, flowing between mountains.
And notice straight away why that water is there. It's not just landscape gardening. It explicitly gives drink to all the beasts of the field. It even mentions wild donkeys, creatures you might think of living in really harsh, dry places.
So provision for everyone.
Even the marginal, yeah. It shows the creator's care reaching absolutely everywhere.
And the birds get a shout out too. The birds of the air nest by the waters. They sing among the branches. That feels so, I don't know, peaceful.
It is, isn't it? And it subtly links things together. The mountains get watered from God's upper chambers, it says. Remember those waters mentioned earlier where God dwells?
Oh.
So this water from above satisfies the earth, makes things grow. It's presented as this continuous cycle, provision flowing down from the divine to sustain everything on earth.
So that cosmic cycle directly results in grass for cattle and plants for man to cultivate. It covers wild animals, domesticated ones, and human farming too.
Yes, exactly. It highlights how the whole system is set up to provide food and sustenance for all these different kinds of life, including enabling humans to work the land.
Then it zooms in even more on the human side. It's not just basic food, but wine that gladdens the heart, oil to make his face shine, and bread that sustains his heart. Why these specific things, do you think?
Well, I think this adds another layer, doesn't it? It goes beyond just survival. It actually acknowledges and values things that bring well-being, joy, like the wine sustenance with the bread, and maybe health or celebration with the oil.
So not just surviving, but thriving.
Kind of, yeah. It suggests the Creator's provision includes not just the bare necessities, but also things that make life richer, better, It finds something spiritually significant in the earth's bounty that makes life feel genuinely good.
Okay. Moving from food and drink, the psalm then looks at habitats. The trees of the Lord, these huge cedars of Lebanon that he planted, and birds nesting there, storks specifically. Then you get wild goats on the high mountains, and conies, those little rock hyraxes hiding in the crags.
It's showing a real appreciation for, well, the sheer variety of life and the specific places creatures live. It's not just a general list. It recognizes distinct environments, forests, mountains, rocky places, and knows that specific animals belong in each one.
Tailor-made homes.
You could say that. The Creator's care is shown in providing all these different kinds of places for things to live.
The psalm also seems very aware of the world's rhythms, the daily cycle, the seasons. It says the moon marks the seasons, the sun knows exactly when to set.
That points to the reliability of it all, the dependable order in creation. The sun and moon do their jobs predictably. They give us the framework for time seasons, yes, but also that fundamental back and forth of day and night.
And that switch from day to night brings out different characters, doesn't it? Darkness falls, and the forest animals, the beasts, come out. Lions roar for prey, and this is fascinating. It says they seek their food from God.
That is a remarkable line because it takes something potentially quite scary, a predator hunting, and reframes it. It puts it inside this divine economy. Even the lion needing to hunt to survive, it's seen as seeking its food from the Creator.
So even the hunt is part of the system.
That's the implication. It portrays a universe where all life, including those cycles of predator and prey that seem harsh to us, is ultimately dependent on and provided for by God.
Then the sun comes up, the animals go back to their dens, and it says humans go out to work until evening.
It just highlights these complementary rhythms, wild animals active in the dark, humans working in the light. Both cycles are presented as distinct, yes, but both are part of the bigger, divinely set pattern for how creation functions. It's like a balanced system.
Everyone has their time.
Everyone and everything has its time and place.
Okay, so after laying all this out in such amazing detail, the psalm just kind of bursts out in verses 24-30 with this sense of wonder. How many are your works, O Lord? In wisdom you made them all. The earth is full of your creatures.
That verse really feels like a pivot, a moment of just awe. The psalmist is looking back at everything described the scale, the variety, and is just overwhelmed. How many captures that feeling of immensity? And in wisdom says this isn't just a random jumble. There's incredible design, intelligence behind it all.
It's a response to the sheer abundance.
Absolutely. A response of wonder at the mind-boggling diversity,
Yeah.
all seen as wisely created.
And then it turns its attention to the sea, describes it as vast and spacious, teeming with creatures beyond number, living things both large and small. And it mentions ships and gets specific again with the Leviathan, which you formed to frolic there.
The sea, yeah. Another huge, mysterious realm, emphasizing the Creator's reach and just how much life there is. And bringing in Leviathan is really interesting.
Why is that? Isn't Leviathan usually depicted as monstrous?
Often, yes. In some other ancient texts, it's a symbol of chaos, maybe something needing to be defeated. But here it's just part of the teeming life of the sea, formed specifically to frolic, to, play around, live there.
So not a threat.
Not here. It suggests that even the biggest, most powerful, maybe potentially disruptive sea creatures are actually part of the established order, under control, even having a kind of joyful existence within it.
Wow. Okay, so that leads us into what feels like a really core theme, especially in verses 27-30, dependence. Verse 27 says, "These all look to you to give them their food at the proper time."
And that's a huge statement. It's not just people who depend on God. It's everything. All the creatures we just talked about, birds, donkeys, lions, sea creatures, big, small, every single living thing is shown looking to the divine source for its most basic need, food, sustenance.
And the psalm spells out this dependence so starkly. When you give it to them, they gather it up. When you open your hand, they are satisfied. But the flip side is intense. When you hide your face, they are terrified. When you take away their breath, they die and return to the dust.
It really emphasizes how absolute that dependence is, like moment by moment. Life, feeling satisfied, feeling secure. It all comes from the Creator being actively involved, his hand being opened, his face being turned towards them.
And when that presence is withdrawn,
When that attention is withdrawn, when the breath or spirit, it's often the same word, is taken away, the result is immediate. Terror, death, decay, back to dust. It paints a picture of a universe where the Creator isn't some distant first cause, but the ongoing vital source keeping everything alive.
but then right after that stark picture of death, there's this amazing line about renewal. When you send your spirit, they are created and you renew the face of the earth.
Yes, which suggests this isn't just a one-time creation event, it's continuous. Life originates from that divine spirit, the same breath that, when removed, causes death. But that spirit is also sent out actively to create and to renew the earth.
So like a cycle.
Exactly. It implies a constant cycle of creation, recreation, regeneration. Maybe it hints at new generations continuing life, all of it powered by this dynamic, ongoing divine energy or spirit.
So moving towards the end, verses 31, 35, the psalm shifts into reflection and a very personal response, right? The psalmist wants God's glory to last forever, notes that God actually rejoices in his own works.
That's a lovely thought, isn't it? That the creation is so inherently good and beautiful that the Creator finds joy in it. And the text also loops back to God's immense power over it all. He looks at the earth and it trembles. Who touches the mountains and they smoke? It's a reminder that the same power that gently provides is also utterly awesome.
And the psalmist's own reaction to all this, it's praise, singing all my life, wanting his meditation to be pleasing and simply rejoicing in the Lord.
It shows what the intended human response is supposed to be, according to the psalm. When you really contemplate creation in this way, the majesty, the intricate order, the constant provision, the dependence is meant to lead you straight into worship, into a personal connection, into just joyful praise of the one behind it all.
The psalm wraps up with a line about sinners vanishing, and then it ends where it began almost. Praise the Lord, O my soul, praise the Lord. A double affirmation.
Yeah, that final thought about removing anything that disrupts this grand vision of praise and order, it kind of reinforces the main point. The ultimate desire is for the Creator and this amazing sustained creation to be the absolute focus, leading everyone and everything back to praise. It brings the whole journey through the psalm right back to that opening call to worship.
It really is an incredible journey packed into one text. We've gone from, the sheer majesty of the Creator with light and wind to the founding of the earth, setting boundaries.
Then down into the incredible detail of how everything is fed and watered. Donkeys, birds, people, lions.
Right. The cycles of day and night, the different habitats, the teeming life in the sea, even Leviathan just frolicking.
And that powerful theme of absolute dependence,
Yeah.
balanced by the continuous renewal through the divine spirit.
And it all circles back to this profound sense of awe and a call for personal praise, rooted entirely in just looking at the world.
It really does offer a different lens for seeing everything around us.
Absolutely. So maybe here's a final thought for you listening to take away from this deep dive. This ancient poem finds deep spiritual meaning not just in the big, dramatic cosmic stuff, but in the everyday details: water flowing, birds building nests, cattle grazing, the sun coming up, even a giant sea creature having fun. What everyday detail of the world around you might suddenly seem different, maybe hold a deeper significance if you looked at it with that same kind of wonder and connection.